Hey guys. So, been doing some research today, and it's just kind of a continuance of stuff I've already been thinking about for a while now. And it's okay. Researching the Yazidi and these ancient civilizations and the Gondwana land thing with the landmass between Africa attached to India, to the southern tip of India, stretching out, linking Madagascar all the way over to Australia. Basically, that massive subcontinent, and that it was inhabited by this ancient civilization that was millions of years old, perhaps, or even just like 500,000 years old, or however you want to think of it. And the connection about the way that it ties into these Yazidi people and other people around the world, but I'm just going to stick with that because of their symbology that still remains. For example, they have the Malek Taus, this peacock angel. And the peacock isn't indigenous to Iraq, where the Yazidi people are located in modern times as of now. But it seems like they brought it with them from India, or a land near India, that kind of thing. So I was thinking about this, and you have Horus in Egypt, represented with a falcon, most typically. And you have the Harappan civilization, which was a massive civilization. It was expanded. It was spanning it was bigger than the Egyptian civilization. It's supposedly the Harappan civilization fell due to Aryan invasion. I've done some research about that. I don't think that they did. I don't think there was an Aryan invasion. And even though under the caste systems, the Harappan civilization was relegated and subjugated and became the lowest caste in the ancient caste system. But I was trying to figure out, why would the Aryan civilization coming out of the Indo-Aryan nation, why would they subjugate the Harappan civilization? And I was doing research about that, and I was thinking about this peacock symbology, and that there are no peacocks in Iraq. And I was thinking about the falcon, and a lot of times in these ancient depictions of the Zoroastrians in Iran, at that time Persia, they depict the god as being wings spread out, and you'll see that too with the symbology of Horus in Egypt, where the falcon's depicted with the wings closed, and then the wings spread out with the disc over the head. And I was researching about that in Toth and all of this symbology. Now, the lamp in Yazidi culture that's lit at their rituals in their temples by the women in their culture, it has like you'll see that it has a tear here, a tear here, a tear here, like a bulb basically. And at the very top is the peacock. You'll see that same exact lamp in Hindu culture as well, where it has this sort of bloop, 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 and then the bird at the top. And I was thinking about, so you take that there, the symbology kind of spanning over, that they might all be talking about what we would equate to Horus, or some people would say that they think that there's an equation between Jesus and Horus, and on and on and on. But essentially, and what that insinuates too, that we have a connection also, which I've covered in previous videos, where it appears as if Melek Taus is also connected in some way to the perceptions of Lucifer or Iblis, or and then also now I've related that I think it has to do with Horus as well. So with that in mind, and that these people were all talking about the same force, I was wondering what would inspire that they would feel this, that it was so important. And then, and like with the Yazidi, they believe that this Melek Taus will be returning again someday, this most glorious angel. And it got me to thinking about the ancient pictographs and stuff like that. My dogs are barking. But anyway, the pictographs and that people see, or the petroglyphs, I'm sorry, petroglyphs and pictographs too, I'm sure. But anyway, the petroglyphs on the ancient stone walls that you'll see in California, all over the world, really, all over the world on the caves and stuff, and it shows the squatting man, which I've seen that this might have something to do with a pinch effect, as seen in, like, replicated in laboratories working with plasma. I have four dogs. Anyway, so anyway, I think they were depicting some type of catastrophic event, or something, an event that they witnessed in a way that may have caused the continental drift and the separation of these lands. Because we have a lost civilization. People talk about Atlantis. They talk about many lost civilizations. But this one right here that I'm talking about, where you had, for some reason, these people all left. And they left the landmass between Africa and connecting over even out to Australia, and possibly touching Australia, and then also touching southern India. That the people, the civilization, they are the builders of these amazing temples I've talked about in other videos. And these people all left their region and they migrated to other regions. And so I don't believe that they were actually invaded. I think there was a natural event that occurred. The same reason that the Maya also, and the Aztecs, that they also too kind of just seem to, you know, have to move on and this and that. But they all have, in the Aztec and Mayan traditions, see, you have the references to the phoenix and the feathered, the Quetzalcoatl, the name of their god there, one of them anyway, Kukulkan, or no, not that one, Quetzalcoatl. I'm not sure if I'm probably not pronouncing that right, but anyway, it's depicted as a phoenix. And this reference to, and a phoenix also means a dragon. So this connection here to a feathered serpent. So you have, these connections make me think of something that was going on cosmologically that they were witness to, something that was happening in the skies of these people in ancient times, that they were seeing a massive cosmic event that was happening in their skies. And they may have seen even the birth or the death of stars, or the collision of planets coming close to each other and having interacting with each other with their fields of energy. I think a magnetic force field. Many people say that the universe is electric, or at least that's a French theory of David Talbot. I think that it's a magnetic universe, and I'm going to go into that. I mean, I don't abide by it, but I think it's worth considering that, because though it's said that electrical fields are the only thing that can create a magnetic field, it's also true that a magnetic field can create an electrical field. And so we have electromagnetic, energy. But thinking about the representations of Zeus and the representations of Por or Thor, and that these are thunderbolt gods, lightning gods, and you think about plasma, and they found, okay, in India, off in the Indian Ocean, there's the Burkle crater that's off the coast of Africa, and below India there in the Indian Ocean, and it's an 18-mile diameter crater. This is a massive crater that they believe may have been just an incredible impact. And they say that the sand dunes of Australia, on the west coast of Australia, may have been either from a mega tsunami, from this impact by this, either a comet or an asteroid, or it was, some geologists believe, possibly from strong, massive winds. And I think it's like these chevron dunes in Australia. I think it could be either one. If you have an instance where the landmass was connected, and the impact of anything, possibly even a plasma bolt, or even if a comet is actually electromagnetic instead of actually just an ice ball, or the giant snowball thing, the belief about asteroids and comets being ice. It doesn't have to be. It could be that they are electrical, and it could be that they that this was a wind that was created, or and that's in the case that it was all connected, or it could have been a mass tsunami in the case that it did hit the water beneath, or it could be that they weren't connected, yet still, when there was the impact, it did create a tsunami. I don't know. There's a lot to it, and it's very, I'm thinking that when you think about the pockmarks on the moon itself, in laboratories they've been able to replicate that same type of pocking, like crater asteroid pocking, and it's not caused by an actual comet or an asteroid hitting. It's from basically electric, like a plasma bolt of lightning striking the surfaces of the moon at some point, maybe when interacting with Venus, and even the surface of the face of Mars shows similar markings, as if there were actually a giant scar, the scar of the face of Mars, depicting him as a war god, that he was at one point in some kind of cosmic war, perhaps with Jupiter, or also maybe passing with Venus. And then the orbis symbology too in all these cultures of what looks like a dragon, which is, eating its own tail. But if they were seeing stars and large, like massive cosmic events with like a front row seat here on the Earth, and that they were looking at a different sky and they had a different cosmos in a way, or they were privy to a cosmological event that was directly in front of them in some way, they may have had, that might be why they have such great knowledge of the cosmos themselves, or of certain planets they couldn't have seen at the time, or even Sirius, in the case of Sirius A, Sirius B. Another thing I wanted to mention about these ancient people that I thought was interesting is when referencing to Genesis, on the first day of creation, in the 7 days of creation, on the first day of creation, it says that God says, "Let there be light," and there was light. However, the sun and the moon and the stars are not created till the 4th day. So this source of light is something I want to talk about. Now, I've heard Aleister Crowley say that, the coup is in the cob, or the cob is in the coup, and not the coup in the cob, or something like that, to that effect, insinuating that the star is in the light, and the light is not the star. So, as if to say, in the case when you're thinking about Sirius, which I've thought a great deal about and talked with Mike Strange about on his show Troubled Minds, talking about Sirius, the Sirius Gateway and the Lion's Gateway, and we talked about that when they were doing the big CERN, turning CERN on at the in earlier July. Now, the reason this is weird about the Genesis 1, Genesis 4, is that you have in Genesis 1 where God says, "Let there be light," and there's light, and then 4 days later he creates the sun and the moon and the stars. But there's light already there. And so it does bring question to the Sirius thing. What does this have to do with anything? What if the possibility that they did experience this kind of cosmological event that was incredibly devastating, and what we're reading about in either the Epic of Gilgamesh or the telling of Genesis in the Bible, if they're actually referring to a story that occurred after the cosmic cataclysmic event, or this change in the sky itself for the dwellers of Earth, if they did witness it, and I'm saying that they were, that insinuates that their humanity has been here much longer than previously thought, or that we are continuing on of previous ancestors, so that witnessed all these events. If that's the case, then what you have is, it'd make a lot more sense that they were seeing darkness and void after this event that sent up, of course, a dust cloud and ash and these plumes of steam and just complete chaos. And then they may have seen the light of the sun shining, but they did not actually see the sun or the moon or the stars themselves for 4 more days. But the confusing thing about that could be, though, that it may take much longer than that for that type of cataclysm to settle down. So it could have been that if each day represents 1,000 years, or 1,000 days, or however you'd want to interpret biblical time frames, which I'm not confident to say one way or the other. It doesn't matter either way. There was grass and trees on the earth before the sun and the moon were made, in that telling, which I think is very important to consider in all of this. And there's so many things to consider. I can't consider it all right here without notes, or like doing the pulling up screens and whatnot. But I do hope that I've given you something to think about today and that we should consider that this lost land, or at least these civilizations that were shattered by a natural event, that it wasn't actually caused by any kind of war, and it might not have even been, if it was a plasma, like a lightning bolt, it could have created such phenomenon as people see, where in the bottom of these craters, for example, the one at the tip of India, sorry to continue on just a little bit longer, but the lake at the southern tip of India, if I can find one moment, I don't want to fiddle this up, never mind, we'll just leave it there. But anyway, the bottoms of these craters are often layered in basalt and lava, as if when this impact occurred with the comet or the asteroid, it caused the whole ground there to become a lake of, basically a giant pool of lava, a lake of fire. And I thought that was very interesting as well, and I wanted to bring that up about the basalt, and that could also be produced by a plasma bolt. And this makes me think much more about the poor Thor and Zeus correlation, and all this reverence for these types of forces, when though we are impressed by lightning and thunder ourselves, not as impressed as the ancient people were, and there may be a good reason for that. They must have seen something quite incredible. And I don't know if we'll, in the case of the Yazidi who believe that Malak Taus will be returning someday, I don't know that that is so. I think that's incredibly interesting, and maybe it'll come back different than it did last time. But also, because trying to identify it is also difficult. I will mention that Malak Taus is connected to the snake and the serpent, as many of the ancient cults were, including the Druids, including Moses walking with his staff, and that when he threw down his staff it turned into a snake. And we see a lot of symbology with this. We also see in the Lord Murugan, I think I'm pronouncing that right, out of the Hindu belief system, that he is also depicted as the cobra, or the multi-heads of cobra, also similar to the peacock tail fan. The other thing I want to mention about the peacock tail is the eye of Horus on the tail of the peacock. And I just thought that was really interesting as well. And I want to make sure that I should have taken a few notes, but I did want to bring all these at different points up. What I'm getting at is that ancient civilizations I think they did have a front row seat to incredible cosmological events, and that they also, too, their civilization could have fallen, maybe not overnight, not even instantly. It could have been that they did have forewarning and had time to possibly make a boat and get away, or to move to a different location, maybe losing several people, but at the same time surviving. And I just want to bring that to everybody's attention today, and I hope you enjoy this little video, and I want to go much further into this at some point when I can maybe do a better presentation, but I just wanted to bring these ideas to the forefront, and have a great day.